Welcome, friends and colleagues. I am so thrilled. My favorite day of the week, Wednesday, podcast day. And every week, I'm so fortunate to have people in my network that I feel like incredibly connected to. I get to select one for each week, and we do this beautiful, short, commutable podcast. It goes so fast, 20 to 25 minutes, where we get to learn about the talents and the experience and the wisdom from somebody that I feel has the three pillars under their umbrella. One being, I feel like they're a really cool leader who believes in collaboration in our luxury design build world. Number two, lives with an attitude of gratitude. And number three, loves helping other people, help humanity. And without further ado, I am thrilled to welcome you all to a new colleague of mine that I'm so honored and thrilled to have met at our last year's November PowerHouse SMART Luxury Conference. And she and I immediately clicked, and then we had some further follow up, which is what I always encourage everyone to do when you get connected with somebody that's like minded. And now I'm so happy to introduce you to and let her take the microphone, Ms. Sarah Rudy. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And like you mentioned, when I first was introduced to you, at least not even in person, but the individual who's part of the Powerhouse Smart group said, "Oh, you're going to love Wendy. She's amazing. You remind me of her." And then when I met you, immediately I felt the energy and I was so excited. It not only was an incredible conference, it was a testament really to what you do for the people and everyone that I met. So thank you so much for having me. I
Well, you're
appreciate
a
it.
part of that now, Sarah.
Yeah, it's great. It's
Yes.
great.
So,
Yeah, thank
yes.
you.
So, share with our audience now,
Mhm.
the people who listen to this, many of them are in the luxury design build industry, but some people just kind of stumble across this and they are looking for somebody in our industry. So, definitely start from the beginning.
Yeah, would love to. So the way I sort of describe my career is really twofold. So I started with, I was in retail management, multi-store, multi-state for so many years, always in sales leadership, customer experience, process-driven, large companies, and I really loved what I did. But when I decided that I sort of wanted to pivot, I really drew upon what did I love, which was construction, remodeling, building, aesthetics, all of those things. And so at one point, I pivoted into building. So I started working for a semi custom builder, a large builder in Wisconsin, and then transitioned into a custom builder in the Chicagoland area where I got to connect with you, which was great. Throughout that time, I really saw that there was a need for people to understand the process, and lots of decisions were being made and asked of them. And sometimes people were supported with a designer, and sometimes they were doing it on their own. So when I thought about starting my own business, which is SR Design and Renovation, I decided to really take more of an advocate approach. So I say, even though the IRS has me titled as an interior designer, I'm actually a construction. I sort of bridge the gap between design, construction, and client advocacy. So I decided I wanted to sit next to the client at the table versus across from them. And so that's where my business was born. So it's been really fun, but that sort of is the impetus that would what got me to where I am here today. And
Well,
then
first of all, I
beyond,
love that.
oh, thank you. Thanks. And it's been wonderful because I think that what I found is that my specific clients really are looking to be educated, not just make selections. It's not just about a finish, a paint sample, or aesthetics. They really want to understand what they're investing in. So I myself had a lot of experience in personally building homes. Not only was I in the business side of it, but I personally built and renovated so many homes myself. I really put myself in the shoes of my client and thought, what are the things that they need to know? So number one, they feel confident. Number two, they feel heard. And most importantly, how can we have a lot of fun while doing this? Because there's a lot of emotion behind renovation, building, and all those things. So I sort of bundled that all into my client approach. And I've really found that um, I see myself as a bridge. I really do, because some of my clients have gone through experiences where someone has made all the decisions for them, and maybe now at this point in their life, they want to understand function, not just the way that something looks. So we really take that journey together. So it is a process of education. It is a process of selection, always understanding how the whole piece will come together. But really, we walk hand in hand together when we do that. And I see myself as someone that is their partner ultimately. And I try not to make a decision for them. I want them to feel confident in it. So it's been really fun. I took a lot of my sales skills in terms of listening and asking the right questions versus just having a task list of what's needs to be accomplished, and more about what's important to them. What do you love about your current space? What would you like to change? What has your experience been in the past? So we sort of have a lot of fun. And even before we get into the nuts and bolts of the project, we really start to learn about each other. And I think it's great because I've seen people, I have my very first client, and really what became the pillar of what I do is I started talking to her, and I was asking her about what is it that she loves about her home, the things I was discussing earlier. And I found out that really she is, as most folks are, in a transition period. They had a home or a space that had a certain set of memories, and now they're building more memories. This particular client now has raised her family. Now she has grandchildren coming into the home, and she wants to create a space not just to update it, but really for the way that their life lives now. So when we were done, I said, it sounds, Jane, like you want to love your home again. And she said, that's exactly what it is. So we were off and running, and we are working on her project, and it's very exciting for her. And that is really where I start. I want someone to love their space. It's not always a renovation of an existing home. Some clients are remodeling a home that they downsized in. So then it's, how does the space work for you? So again, that questioning and really that line of communication and trust has been critical, and something that's really important to me when we're working together. So that's been great.
I,
Yeah.
like, as I said, I already was ready jumping out of my seat because I love the whole approach of being the client's advocate, and it's so needed today. There are so many people that if they happen to select a team that doesn't really and not all of them don't, but I would say there are definitely a lot of sources out there that clients go to, and they don't have that concierge, that
Mhm.
really intimate relationship of somebody who you know starts from the very beginning and really listens to them and finds out everyone's got a business to run, and some of those remodeling firms or other professionals that they might start with don't always have that time or that process set up. So before we get into that, because I do want to understand your process a little better, let me backtrack. And you started. So are you originally from Wisconsin?
No, I'm actually originally from the Chicagoland area. I've moved to multiple states with my retail career. I ended up in Wisconsin and living in a home for the builder that I worked for, which then became my impetus to, I'm just going to try to sell. So I got my real estate license and I started working for them as selling, and then eventually transitioned into a leadership role and ran that market. I came back to Illinois. I'm now on the North Shore, although I'll work wherever, virtually, whatever the client needs, I'm there for them. I like to meet them where they're at. But that's how I ended back in Illinois. But I did spend a fair amount of time in Wisconsin and learned a lot about new construction and really about the sales process at that time with my clients. So blending that into how I work with my clients right now has really been terrific, because it's a skill set that I think oftentimes people miss, they're maybe more design related, but not necessarily sales related. So I try to blend those two aspects together so the client really feels like they're getting a great experience.
So right away, the natural market for you, of course, of Chicagoland, the North Shore, because you're very intimate with the real estate and even helping clients
Mhm.
figure out the value of your land and the value of their project. But you also understand Wisconsin, so now you have two
Mhm.
markets that you can
Right.
totally jump into. So that's exciting. And then you're so humble because you said, "Oh, I was in the building and I was into sales and into leadership," and then you came to work for a custom builder here in Chicagoland. When I say here, that's where we are today, on the North Shore. But you were the vice president of sales and marketing. So, you don't just open up your own shingle and become a client advocate in everything design build without having a very deep understanding of how does a building firm work? How does an architecture firm work? How does an interior designer? How do all the players come together? So I want you to just spend a few minutes on really what your role was as a vice president and how that was such a natural transition for you to be where you are now.
Yeah, thank you. That's very nice. I think for me, what I really wanted to bring to that particular role was, first of all, consistency from a client experience standpoint. And I think oftentimes I challenged myself and my team to say, this may be something that we do all the time, but this is maybe the first time someone's done this, or maybe it's the second time that they've done it. So really putting a different lens and looking at it from the client perspective. So outside of, I ran a lot of volume in Wisconsin. They were production builder. So that aspect of speed and process was critical. So that was one of the things that I brought to my role as well, really looking at how are we being as effective as we can with the clients so they are, of course, getting the best client experience. And so that was critical for me. I also took a look at where are we positioned in the market and what do we need to do. And so really getting a deeper understanding of the North Shore and really who was out there doing what we do and how could we fine tune what we did, but also how do we really build upon what's been so successful that's been created by others in the past. So that was really critical for me in my role. And I think for the decision for me to sort of go off on my own was driven by understanding that there was a gap in the market. I mean, not everybody brings an interior designer to the table or a client advocate. And so, even in huge projects, people are intimidated by having someone sit beside them for whatever reason. Maybe, they see things on HGTV and it seems out of touch for them. So, for me, I thought, let me take a personal approach and allow people that either want to go full force and have total concierge, or even people that want to partner to just be educated on the process. That's really what I wanted to bring forward and why I made the decision to sort of jump off and go out on my own. And it's been a blast. It's been fun because
Well,
it's fun to work for yourself, but it's also terrific to bring all the history of the things that I've learned in the past to bring to my role right now.
right. Well, you were always an entrepreneur, and now it was a natural transition, especially seeing the value that you can provide these individual property owners. So, can a couple quick questions about that? So, opening up your own business is such a natural thing for you, Sarah. You have that talent already. When you're looking for, your clients that you can help most, are you willing to do a small project? Does it only have to be large? What is the scope of what you're offering?
For me, even though I should say it's more about the experience and the client and less about the size of the project. I really go in with a servant mentality when I'm working with someone. So it might be a small powder room. It might just be understanding and educating and just focusing on selections and they're working with the GC and they don't feel that they need everything, to a entire first floor renovation. Or certainly at this point, I have all of the skills to be able to work on new construction because I've done that for so many years. So I understand that aspect of it, but I don't really box myself into it. I think what's most important is that the client and I gel, that we have a great relationship, that there's trust, and I flex. So I might go from full project management, like I am with one client that I have now, to a smaller primary bath, and really making sure that they feel supported. But at the end of the day, it really is about the experience that they have. So small or large, I want to make sure that people feel confident, um, that they've been educated, and that they, like I said, had fun. So that's kind of, I don't box myself into any particular project.
Well, I can imagine working with you is going to would be so much fun. So, how is it that you select, or do you manage all of the not the partners that come together?
Mhm,
The architect, I come to
mhm,
you and I need a piece of property. Are you going to help me find the land? Or are we going to call a
mhm.
realtor? Are you going to find a builder and an architect? And when in the process do you do that? Do you first spend X amount of time with me, and then how does that work?
Sure. So I think in one aspect, I have a GC that I work with. So if somebody needs a referral, I'll certainly refer a GC that I work with. I have one specific person that has done projects for me, so I love him. So there's that aspect of it, and then there's the other aspect of sitting, like I said, next to the table with the client and really helping them select the right person for their project. And then when it comes to new construction, it might come down to, where are you building? What's the reputation like? What do you want to accomplish? So it really is individual. I mean, I certainly have partners in all, and a lot of them are in PowerHouse SMART. So, I'm not going to name drop, but I've already worked with a few people and had some connections, and it's been great. But we have such a large community with our group through you that we can rely upon those people. I mean, we have all aspects of that. So tapping into that particular market, whether it's real estate or building, it's right there for you, which is great because everyone is like-minded in our group. So it's very easy to pick up the phone and say, I have an architect, and I have certainly referred people out that maybe I wasn't the right fit for them, but I'll say, I have an architect that I refer you to. And then that person goes off and wins the job. It's really all of that. So the process first becomes, what do they want to accomplish? What's their timeline? And then, is it new construction? Is it finding an existing home? Are they in their home? Can we make it work? So it's really about that questioning, making sure that expectations are set, and then partnering them with the right people. And thankfully, we have a back pocket of people in our group. So it's really been helpful.
Well, you know where I was going. I was going exactly to that pillar
Mhm,
of collaboration. And it's true. And yet I still see the value that you bring as much as a lot of the collaborators that you talked about that are part of Powerhouse Smart, and then those that are even just out there that are not. And they're
mhm,
great people. We love them all. Really, you're actually spending more time, from the very beginning, more finding out about their lifestyle, their family, their
mhm,
budget, what they perceive as the long-term future of where they want to be. So you're saving that collaborator, be it the architect and the builder or the designer from the very beginning, a
mhm,
lot of that initial, psychological guidance, that personal life consulting, that lifestyle. There's value in that. And I also think there's value in having someone you feel confident that's going to be there to kind of guide you through every step, jump in
mhm,
when something might be a question and they just want a second opinion, but then allow the professionals to do what they do best. You're
right.
not coming in and you're not overseeing the general contractor or the architect. You don't claim to be the best at everything, but that's why a team approach
Mhm.
will be such an advantage for every client. So hats
Yeah.
off to you, my dear.
Well, thank you, because you're right. It is not about stepping on the true professional's toes, but it's really about walking together through the process so it enhances it for the client. And there's countless examples of that just yesterday. So I think it's easier for the client when they see a partnership and people are on the same page and you're working together for them, because it really enhances that. And you had mentioned confidence, which is something that is also very important to me, that my clients feel. It's so fun to see them not fun in the beginning, but anxious, they're tentative, they're unsure, to then going through a project and, whether it's starting demo day and they feel ready and we have, everything, listed and tied up and tucked and tied, and then to the end of the project where they feel like they have really accomplished everything they wanted. So that is confidence building is a really big thing for me because I want people to feel like they've learned something from the process. And of course, when we're collaborating, that's always something that we, lead back to as we're talking to the other professionals in the process.
So now I have to take my Powerhouse Smart business hat off and my recruiting hat off, and I have to ask you, Sarah. We're in a world where we're so fortunate that we get to work with people when you know they're really planning their lives and planning where they live and how they entertain and spend time with their family, how they create memories, as you said
Mhm.
so eloquently. What is it about Sarah, and how is it that you live with an attitude of gratitude? What would you say to the audience that wakes you up every morning and just why you say, I just am so grateful to be here?
I think a long time ago, I read an article, and I believe it was Goldie Hawn who said, she chooses her right attitude. She chooses, and it's easier. And I've always stuck this with this. So we'll just remove her name from it and we'll say that this is mine because it is what I've taken as my mantra. It is easier to be grateful and happy than it is to see the negative in things. I mean, certainly the negative things happen. We understand this. I mean, life is hard at times. But I always go back to the fact that I am very blessed and lucky to be able to do what I do with the people that I'm with. It doesn't always go that way, but I choose to take a positive attitude because it certainly makes the rough times easier because you're involved, you're awake. And I like to be able to motivate people. I want someone to talk to me. Like I love when I get a text from my client. I said, "Oh, I'm going to be chatting with Wendy on this pod. You're going to do great. Your personality is wonderful." Like that is great. I would never describe that as myself, but it's wonderful to hear that from people, and it's important that they're getting that from me because I certainly don't want to be the person that is creating any sort of negativity in any of their daily interaction. So it's important for me to wake up and approach it with the best attitude so they're getting the best from me.
Yeah, well, you reflect that, Sarah, and that's why I naturally was attracted to, continuing our relationship, and really that's what we're all about is, finding the commonality and the opportunity, the spirit where we can really learn more about each other. It's not just the transaction; it's about
Mhm.
caring about the other
Mhm.
individual, and that's really also the essence of your new firm, which is SR Design and Renovation. Is that
Yep.
correct? I
Yes,
love
it's
it. You said
perfect.
it so fast that I had us like,
Yeah.
oh no, we got to go back to that name. So if you're someone listening to this podcast
Mhm.
today and they say, hey, I want to be one of the resources that Sarah
Mhm.
has in her, you know, Rolodex, if anyone remembers what that is,
Yeah.
so that she considers me because I'm a wellness and a health, interior designer, or I'm a such and such green architect, or so how would you suggest that they reach out to you and learn more about you and build that relationship?
You certainly can email me at sarah@srdesignandrenovation.com. I do have a website, srdesignandrenovation.com, where you can send, and I believe I even have my phone number on my website. So I love partnerships. I love just learning to meet people. And honestly, our group, Powerhouse Smart, so many people have reached out. I've had coffee, we've collaborated, and I want to be able to give back to them as well. Even if I'm not the right fit for someone, I would love to say, oh, like you said, I mean, here's a particular photographer that I love him. He does great work. He's great energy. And so as much as I might be able to help them, I would love to help as well. So I just think it's so important to be able to work with great people. And I know that we represent that in our group, which is terrific.
Yeah, well, I said the third pillar under, the people that I hand select to be on this podcast believe in helping others. And it could be helping others in a humanity way of
Mhm.
nonprofit, it could be mentorship, it could be the fact that every single day that's your goal when you wake up. I'm going to help this client get to where they
Mhm.
need to be today so they're not feeling angst or stress.
Mhm.
So, what message would you give yourself if you were to reflect back to when you were a young Sarah and you weren't
Mhm.
necessarily as experienced as you are today? What note would you give yourself so that you could reflect on where you are today?
I would say, ensure that you love what you do and you surround yourself with people that enhance that love. I think it's critical. And love what you do isn't always just career driven. It's love what you do in anything, right? In your life, in your partnership, your family, your friendships. So that's one thing I would say, because I think sometimes, like you said, transaction, size of project, there's certain things that we let our ego drive when we're younger, and we learn as we're older that that should be pushed aside. And we do live, if we live in a gratitude mindset or a servant mindset in terms of the people that you encounter, that comes back to you. So I think I would say give yourself some grace, love what you do, and surround yourself with people that support that.
And you are the perfect role model for that, Sarah. And that's why this new venture is going to be wildly successful. And of course, I always want to help, and I'm here anytime. But today, after this podcast goes live, you're going to see all the links and all the ways you're going to meet Sarah. But what I also know you're going to do, Sarah, and you said not only building the confidence and helping people, take away any stress or confusion that might happen, is education. And
Mhm.
education is so important, and not all industry professionals have the time or the ability to sit down and educate an
Mhm.
individual client. And I know you have a huge wealth of people in and out of our community that can help you share. I would love to see what you're going to do as far as maybe having groups where you bring people, consumers together to educate them. It's so needed in our industry. And we used to do that a long time ago, and I don't see it as often. So I think that would be an area where you would be just shine and just really get the word out about what you're offering people. So just a
I
thought.
love it.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. It's a great idea. And you're right. In my past, I had done that. But you're right. People don't do it as much. Lives are busy. So I think see, that was a wonderful tip from you. And I will absolutely do that. I love it. It's great.
Yeah, no, it's great. And if you have any thoughts or any questions, I'd be happy to even direct you through everyone that I know that might be able to help be the expert in that area, because we surround ourselves with people that are better than we are, and that's how we can offer what the scope and the depth of
Hmm.
expertise for people. So, Sarah, you are a blessing. I'm so thrilled that you're a new contact in my life, but not you're not going to be distant. I'm going to keep threading you in and bringing you in on more and more that we're doing. And I just appreciate your wisdom, your kindness, your compassion, and everything that you're doing. And, we're both all about just helping others personally and professionally, whatever it does to make their life the best it can be.
Thank you. And thank you so much. I'm so glad our paths crossed. And this is only the beginning.
That's right. That's right. So, everybody, please reach out to Sarah. Learn more, Sarah Rudy. Learn more about her business. Even if it's not something that you're interested in doing a project, you may know someone, and that's how it all works. Is it's helping others without expecting anything in return. So, blessings to you, Sarah. We'll be talking very soon.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you. Okay. There we go.